Hi guys, how are you? This is Amar, and we're going to continue reading the book. There are a bunch of videos I'm putting out on this channel. In case you are following this channel, I have said a few times. I'll repeat it. This channel is about inspiration. Is about inspiration of different kinds. I'm trying to read my books. Obviously, I've published 4 more books besides Happiness in Your Skin. I'll self-publish them all, and I'm gonna read all of those books on this channel. In case you are into books and in case you want me to help you understand why I've written those books, what is there in that book, what is the story of the book. Like I'm reading Happiness in Your Skin, I will be reading the other books also and explaining the context of those books. Right. So right now we're reading the third chapter, which is the sources of intense happiness, and we read till page 14. And I will be reading from 3.1, which is the need for family. Right. So over here in this chapter, we're talking about the sources of happiness, what I believe are the sources of intense happiness. And In case we have those sources, then we are able to create a happy life. All right. So in case we don't have them, then life will not be happy. That is what it is. Like although we are all, I'll emphasize this point throughout this book, that although we're different as people in terms of countries, in terms of races, in terms of nationalities, in terms of religions, but the fundamentals of happiness stay the same. So let's look at the need for family. And before starting this, I must say that the need for family, a family which understands you, is the most important need for happiness. In case, I mean, I say all the time, I've written another book which is called The Impossible Couple, which is on Amazon. And I have written my whole idea of love is that is understanding. Love in one word is understanding. If you love someone, you understand them, you understand where they come from, and you can't change who they are, but you understand where they come from. So love is purely understanding of the other person, right? So the need for family is the need for people who understand you. Family is people who understand you. Home is where they understand you. Home is where they understand you. Home is not a structure. These walls are not home. These walls are a structure. Home is made by people who live in, and home is a set of people who understands you. Unfortunately, many of us do not belong to families where people understand our parents, uh, people we live with. A lot of people don't understand us, and unfortunately we have to look for people outside to understand. I mean, it is the greatest loneliness in the world is where you are living with people and they don't understand you. That is quite a lonely life. Having people who understand you, if you're born in a family where your parents understand you, where they like your friends rather than they are your parents, um, you are really lucky, and you're fucking lucky. Okay. And I'm jealous of you. Uh, so let's start with this. Let's start with the need for family is the most important source of happiness. Okay. We're born to a set of parents, a father and a mother. If you're fortunate, unlike a large chunk of the Chinese population for many decades because of the one child policy, we also have siblings. People who are born into a close knit family are fortunate to extract a large chunk of their daily happiness from their families. Let me read this again. Okay. People who are born into a close knit family are fortunate to extract a large chunk of their happiness from their families. Now, think about it. Especially in times of coronavirus lockdown, when we're spending a lot of time at home, some people are happy, some people are not. Because all of us are having to spend time with our families, and some people are blessed for it, some people are feeling good about it, and some people are not feeling good about it. Because in case you have a family which understands you, in case you have a family which has a similar set of thinking and values as you have, there will be no fights in the house. And if there are no fights in the house, if there's no arguments, and there's a loving family who understands each other. Because at this point, it's especially when a lot of people are going through different kinds of struggle, different kind of mental anguish, professional struggles. um, Family is even way more important, right? People who are born into imagine people who are into happy families. At this point, people are happy with the kind of with the kind of people they're spending time with. They're happy right now, okay? And uh, you see, if you really think about it, out of all the kinds of troubles we face in life, um, financial troubles, our personal problems, our social problems, uh, we can fix everything in case we don't feel alone. There's nothing that a human being cannot fight in case he doesn't feel alone. All we need is some emotional support, even if there's no financial support. Some financial support side sometimes it helps, but emotional support is the most important thing. People who understand you, um, people who are there, who you know are there in case you are down. That's a huge thing. Just the fact that somebody's there is a huge thing. It gives you huge amount of peace and happiness. People are born into a close-knit family are fortunate to extract a large chunk of their daily happiness from their lives. If your parents love each other, you learn to love other people by just watching your parents. If your parents do not love each other, it may scar your outlook about a man woman relationship for a long time. You may not feel like being in a relationship yourself since your perception of your parents' relationship made you believe that relationships are a source of pain. Let me read this paragraph again. It's a very important paragraph. If your parents love each other, you learn to love other people by just watching your parents. Imagine if your parents love each other, I mean, and you've seen them hug, being loving to each other, being caring towards each other. You understand what love is. You understand what love is, because love is love shows. It's visible. It's anybody can see it. Anybody can see two people who are in love. And if your parents are in love, you learn to be loving to your siblings, you learn to be loving to the world outside. You learn how to love from your parents. And more importantly, if your parents love each other, it's a happy home, because the home is made by your parents, and there's happiness, there's joy, and there are no fights and no arguments. It's a peaceful, happy home, right? What a beautiful way to live life. If your parents do not love each other, it may scar your outlook about a man-woman relationship for a long time. If your parents do not love each other, they fight and they argue all the time, it may scar your outlook about a man-woman relationship for a long time. You may not feel like being in a relationship yourself once, since your perception of your parents' relationship made you believe the relationships are a source of pain. And also the house will be a tumultuous place. The house will be a place where there'll be a lot of fights and very low amount of happiness. Okay, so if you are born in a family where parents love each other, if you are live in a family where people love each other, you're incredibly fortunate. Don't ever discount how fortunate you are. And a happy family is one of the key sources of universal happiness. An unhappy family is one of the key sources of universal pain, right? So, in terms of sources of happiness, I will say that family, or the people who are close to you, your parents, your siblings, your partner, they are they are either the source of your biggest happiness or your biggest pain. Yeah. So either you are a source of their happiness or their pain. So family is at the top as far as sources of happiness are concerned. It's right at the top. In case you want to be happy, belong to a family which is a happy family, or create a family which is a happy family. In case you can't do that, no amount of success, no amount of financial success will feel good for you. What is a happy family? A happy family is one whose members love and understand each other. Every family goes through multiple phases of ups and downs. When people love each other and they stand by each other, the problems and the tribulations of life become manageable. Or else, even the smallest problems become overwhelming. If you love your mother, you would want to make her happy. and that stands true for anybody you love. If you love a person, you would want to make them happy, and her happiness would be the source of your happiness, and her happiness would be the source of your happiness. If you love your father, you would want to spend time with him in the morning over a cup of tea and discuss the good, bad, and ugly of life. A father who's also a friend makes for a rare friendship. A father who's also a friend makes for a rare friendship. A friend of mine told me that happiness for her is to hand over the morning newspaper to her father and watch him read it. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, I remember, when I was planning to write this book, when I was in the initial stages of thinking about this book, I had asked a bunch of questions on Facebook and other social media platforms about what makes people happy. And this is one of the messages I got. This friend of mine from the same B school where I went to, she sent me this message that for happiness for her is to hand over the morning newspaper to her father and watch him read it. This is just so beautiful. Hand over the morning newspaper to her father. Imagine the feeling that she feels when she hands over the morning newspaper, watches her father read it. The man who's made her from a girl to from a small girl to a big girl to an adult. Well, that's beautiful, and that's a source of happiness which lasts us while we last. Our family, if we are fortunate to have a loving one, could be the biggest source of happiness for us. We share beautiful and painful moments with them. There's another friend who told me this. When my daughter hugs me tighter than I hugged her, is another friend's expression of deep happiness. When my daughter hugs me tighter than I hugged her, sorry, is another friend's expression of deep happiness. When she hugs me tighter than I hugged her. Our families are our biggest source of strength, love, affection, happiness. If you wish to be happy, choose a happy family. Unfortunately, you can't do that. In case of marriage, you can. You can try. Or that seems like a nonsense statement. I know you can't. You can't choose your family. We aren't given that choice. Let's just accept it. There is no point cribbing about things you cannot control. Families which aren't happy together have no purpose of being together. This is a harsh statement which I wrote in the book, and I stand by it. Families which are not happy together have no purpose of being together. In case you belong to a family which is not happy together, it should go different ways. There's no point a few people or two people should spend time together when they're not happy with each other. Since happiness is the purpose of everything we do, it applies to families as well. Only people who are happy with each other deserve to be together as a family. This is a long section, and I will read till the end of this page. I will give you an alternate definition of family, which I started with when I started this video. Your family is a set of people who understand you. Your family is a set of people who understand you. They could be your blood relatives, or they could be people you met on the journey of your life. Even if they aren't your blood relatives, if they understand you and allow you to be yourself, they deserve the time of your life, because family does deserve time. Unfortunately, a lot of us grew up in families where nobody understood us and we felt lonely. A lot of us grew up in broken households where love was a rare phenomenon. However, we need to change that, and when we have the power to do it, once we grow up and realize that our family isn't really happy, we need to understand if we can do something about it. In most cases, we're not in a position to do anything about it. If we grew up in families which are abusive in nature, the abuse affected us and our lives. Some people are scarred for the rest of their lives because they grew up in unhappy families. They can't just get over it. It continues to affect a life day in and day out. If you have seen your parents always fighting with each other, then the fundamental problems because of which they fight, and they are often irreconcilable. The times when those problems cannot be reconciled, obviously effort should be made to reconcile the problems, but there are times when the problems cannot be reconciled. Families are complex units, and sometimes being able to fix broken bonds is not possible. Sometimes they can be fixed, sometimes they can't be fixed. I cannot answer this question for anyone. Quite often, I cannot answer such questions for myself as well. The important thing to understand is that we need the support of our families to be able to go through the problems that life throws